Oh, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Whew. Joy and joy and joy. I feel so good. I'm happy to see I got a couple of people watching. Peace and blessings to you, beautiful souls. Um, I feel so good. I hope that you guys feel good as well. Um, I want to talk about the bubble that I put on my thumbnail. I want to start off with that. Because it was this new theory that I ran into, and it's the bubble theory. The form of the Big Bang idea. It's really neat. And I think I might even do a discussion about it. It's really uh, a cool theory that was brought about. The universe is being in bubbles, and so I just started to imagine. I didn't go deep into the theory, right? But just imagining, what if two bubbles were to join in, or three or four bubbles were to join in and make a bigger bubble, right? Joanne, thank you for coming through, Queen. Peace and blessings to you. And so I think we might even do a discussion on that. But I wanted to give you guys an update on my spiritual journey. I feel so relieved. I feel very powerful right now. Um, what I've noticed is that, when you are at your highest form of happiness or form of thought, anything that comes, to distract you from that point or to take you away or hinder you from that point, you start to see it more as uh, uh, an acknowledgement that you're on the right track, you know, and to never be discouraged by those moments anymore. I see it differently now. Whereas, sometimes we would look at it as something that would make us feel sad, or, concentrating on the whys for it even occurring. Um, but that there to me is a form of victim mentality, and seeing that I'm no longer a victim. I see it no longer as a attack or a distraction. I now see it as you're on the right track and you're doing the right thing, and you're definitely in your path. Pearly, thank you for coming through, Queen. Peace and blessings to you. And so I've been very grateful. This week has been um it's been a good week, even though it's had some moments. It's been a good week, and even the moments couldn't necessarily take me off from, this mental high that I have right now. And that's why I want to talk about acceptance. Because of everything that I've been sharing with you guys, and just a self discovery of everything that I've been through, or everything that I've learned and discovered of myself. I um i'm now in the presence of enjoying what I have come to understand, and the clarity of my path and the acceptance of it as well, and feeling quite accomplished. Um, I've also noticed that I probably need to get into this more, but I did take a step this week. Yes, enjoying life. Yes, Queen. I've taken a step into Terry, thank you for coming through, King. Peace and blessings to you. Shout out to you guys for always coming through and support. That really means a lot to me. Um, but I'm learning to become more. What people have such a stigma when it comes to intimacy, and not necessarily understanding, where that comes from, but I've been more open to spending time with myself, acknowledging with myself, not just being by myself, not just being mindful anymore, but actually, um taking care of myself, and spiritual bath, and just being proud of myself and just sitting in that moment, you know um this world that we live in is so crazy. They shame a lot of things that we all tend to have the and urges for, um and they also give self pleasure a bad idea. They make it a sexual thing, but self pleasure can be more of, introducing yourself to ideas that you like, habits that you like, certain forms of creativity, seeing yourself in a different form than what you have normally accepted yourself to do. And so when they basically put a lock on form of pleasure or intimacy, we all see it from a childish perspective. So it's about sex, and it's like, it's about more than that. It's about being in tune, finding your own rhythm, discovering who you are, and not being afraid of it. We have this selfish yet selfless form of pleasure, where we want to prove that we can be something for someone else, and denying ourselves of it. So what I've been coming up with this idea of is becoming pleasure for myself, and it feels great. Um, I'm seeing myself in a new light, right? So I'm not stepping out into the world wanting the world to necessarily, um, you know, uh, find my place in the world, and if that makes sense. I'm now stepping out and forcing the world to adjust to what I have accepted of myself. So in this moment of intimacy and, self pleasure, I am looking at myself and I am discovering who I am and who I want to be, so that when I step out, the world has no choice but to accept that of who I am, right? So that's what Angie has been doing. And that is a part of acceptance. The now, you know, breathing, and noticing how breathing feels to you. Noticing where you are right now and how that feels to you. Knowing, you know, every moment that you have in this now, and the acknowledgement that you have for it, it only brings strength and courage to, you know, to make now uh a bigger tomorrow, and not letting the past necessarily dictate to you what your tomorrow will look like, but being grateful for it, because it is the past that made you realize everything about you now. Self pleasure. Yes. People are so scared of these things. Soon as you say it, that it's sex. Everybody has, like, a lot of people, and this is the way the society is formed. We have this childlike mentality when it comes to certain things. And sex is a beautiful thing, right? But this is not what Angie is talking about. I'm talking about finding happiness within yourself, finding out what happiness is to you. I'm talking about uh, sitting in the highest form of happiness and acknowledging how it makes you feel. and letting it be your focus of how you continue on in your path, and not letting the the distractions, or the thoughts or impressions of this world or anything around you dictate what that is for you, or control or take you away from what that is. Being strong enough to stand in your happiness. um Robin, thank you for coming through, Queen. Pearly, yes, I understand. I think a lot of people run away from that sex topic, and it's cool. One day we'll have that discussion. I think everybody uses that as a form of, flesh and flesh and flesh, but I think sex, if it is proper, it would be, more of a spiritual thing. It should be, but that's a discussion for later. Right now we're talking about personal intimacy, personal pleasure, without the form of, sex, you guys. Okay. But just embracing, you know, who you are, your very essence, in all things. And sometimes that can be a sexual thing too. Some people can find you very attractive just embracing, you know, who you are in all aspects, right? And that's a good thing, but sometimes it's necessary for us to do that for ourselves too. So if I come off, very very exciting in a sexual format, it's an embracing of my own aura, my own essence. And i'm I'm happy with that. Sherry, thank you for coming through, Queen. Thank y'all so much for coming through and supporting me. I really do appreciate that so much. You guys are beautiful people. I hope that you guys are, taking on to this journey as well, and seeing how this this can also, be a great thing for you guys. That's why I wanted to share it, especially before I started to getting in the full gear with my channel. I felt like I needed to go down this spiritual journey and, get a few things together, all decency and order, right? And I've become very successful at it, and I'm very grateful as well. um because we're no longer driving, we're no longer riding. My last couple of videos, we were riding, we were driving. But right now, I'm in my room. So we're home now. We're actually here. We're in the present. Um, and I have so many things I want to share. And there was so many things that I had to, get in alignment with what I wanted to share, before I was able to do that. So I'm grateful that we're here now, and I wanted to share this experience with you guys about being in the presence, about being in the now, um, and spending time with ourselves in a healthier format, and sometimes in a spiritual format as well. Um, you know, Gratitude, being grateful, and knowing that everything that happened to you, or it didn't necessarily happen to you, it was happening for you, and we didn't necessarily understand that. um but there's a purpose for each and every one of us, and no longer living in regret or not understanding as to why these things happen to us, but being grateful, because everything that happened is the reason why we are here now. It is the understanding that we have formed now. It is the strength that we have developed because of the knowing, Um, and the healing doesn't stop. Healing to me is something that is constant, it is all the time, it is every day. just as much as learning. If you're not learning, if you're not healing, you're not improving, you're not growing, you're not enhancing, you know. So that is what Angie is doing. And I hope that you guys are doing this as well. Don't let nothing stop you from your growth. Because if, a lot of people, they have this statement, they say, well, I'm grown. Well, if you're grown, you know what happens after you're fully grown? You start to wither away. So every day that we open our eyes in this existence is a day for us to continue to grow, keep living, keep learning, keep healing, you know? And not only that, but even in the midst of it, when things seem difficult, when things seem um, unclear or uncertain, it is okay to take some time to yourself and just acknowledge the now and be happy and find your happiest thought process and keep it. The world around you can be so focused on taking that happiness from you, but it is in you knowing that that is what is happening that you find the inner strength to keep it, to even fight harder for it, right? um I ain't gonna tell y'all that I got a ticket. A second, I was a little frustrated, but I was speaking to my children, and because they were in the car with me, right? And I was telling them, I said, we don't feel down for these moments. We don't let these moments distract us from our inner peace, because what we are doing every day of our lives from this point forward, we are moving, we are existing in purpose. And so anything that comes our way is only a testament to our own strength, your mental strength, your inner strength, to keep going on your path. Right now, what you are doing, it is how you bring your blessings to present. And what you focus on can determine how fast it comes to you, how easy it comes to you, or if it comes to you at all. So don't lose focus because of the things that come to distract or destroy, to hinder. Or not only that, but take acknowledgement or accountability. Because the officer said I was on the phone. And I was. I was on the phone, y'all. I was trying to GPS, and it just, I don't know, he caught me. I got caught. So it takes time to, you become more accountable, so that you can continue to grow, so that you can continue to expand. People can deflect from, you know, their own accountability. And that right there is telling the universe, oh, you're not ready. That right there is telling the existence that you're not ready for your blessings. Because when you have your blessings, you want to be accountable in every moment. You want to be able to understand, what it takes to carry out or to obtain, right? So if you're not able to be accountable for these distractions, or how you carry yourself or how you hold yourself when these things come, to your face, then you're not ready for it. And it's okay if you're not ready. That doesn't mean that it's not possible. It just means that you have a little bit more to do. But I feel so proud of myself because the more that things happen around me as of lately, the more that I've learned, the more that I've grown, the more that I went within, to seek accountability for self, or to see what the lessons that I've been needing to learn. And, even looking in those crevices, right? To clear that out, spring cleaning, right? To figure it out, what it is that I needed to get from those things as well. I know that I'm so close that it's actually already here. Chrissy Love, thank you for coming through, Queen. Peace and blessings. Yes, yes. You're already there. Um, a lot of people talk about, things that they desire, and things that that they wish that they would have, or, the the good things that they need in their life, right? Um, and sometimes those things can be right there, but without understanding, you don't see it as such. You don't see it for what it is, because you know you live in an understanding that that's not how you want it, because it's not the picture that you necessarily imagined. It's not in the form, and but the universe, the almighty, the source is telling you that that's exactly what you envision. That's exactly what is necessary. That is exactly what would make you the happiest, right? So what you have to do is you have to go in and you have to heal all of those traumas and all of that hurt, and you have to unlearn and relearn so that you can redefine your personal understanding, so that when you take another look at it, you can see exactly why it was everything that you asked for and more. Sherry, yes, Angie. I'm at so much peace and gratitude in my life that it takes a lot to distract me from it. Yes, yes, Queen. I'm telling you, the higher your vibration, it's like all of the things that could have affected you before, you can see it for what it is now. So much so to the point that it can't necessarily do anything to you at all. And that's another thing, and I might be all over the place, but we're gonna do it right. Um, Strength. I've redefined strength for myself. A lot of people look at strength as something, as far as a physical feature, but it's that mental strength that is far more important. Being able to understand, to analyze, reanalyze, uh, visualize things from many forms of perspectives, so that you can gain the greatest one, right? And so that's what I've been able to accomplish, being able to see the greatest form, and finding joy in it, actually. It's real dope. I'm so happy. It's a inner peace that, not even the greatest joint can necessarily give you that kind of high, right? And that's what the Almighty does, especially if you're walking on your path, if you're walking in the right direction, if you're keeping your focus, and tunnel vision. You know where you want to go, where you want to be, and also understanding that the things that fall apart aren't necessarily meant to go with you. So, and they're falling apart because they're falling for you. This is happening for you. It's not happening for anything other than that. I've accomplished so much because I told y'all I was working some things out, and a lot of things has come to pass. And I'm in gratitude. I'm grateful. I feel the greatest relief. I'm actually getting more in tune with myself, and I'm getting ready to explore life differently. And this way, in this time, um, I'm not going to be distracted I'm not gonna I'm not gonna allow anyone or anything to determine what strength is for me because I've been strong this entire time. You have been strong this entire time. And the things that made you feel as if you weren't being strong is because they or it was not strong. And it was a fight to keep you weak so that it can feel strong. But that was an illusion because you were actually stronger because if you were weak, we wouldn't be here, right? We wouldn't be able to have this moment, right? You know, it is your strength that has got you through so many things. It is your strength that has, you know, had so many attacks towards it. You know, people look at warrior movies and they got the big muscles and they have the iron equipment and things of the sort, right? And all of those things are definitely necessary when you're going to war, but there's many forms of war and there's many forms of soldiers. And I'm grateful to understand, I'm a soldier and I'm a pretty one too. I'm sorry. But you're all beautiful. We're all beautiful. We're all soldiers. We all fight battles every day. And we no longer have to fight those same battles because now they're nothing but, little flies that try to come around just to test and see if we're still seeing this battle the same or still having the same effects. And, with growth, those things don't happen to us. Though it doesn't affect us, it doesn't bother us. You swat it out the way and you keep moving. Right now I have come to a place where I am acknowledging how strong I am. And I'm acknowledging how the world around me is changing according to my will because of my own strength. I'm redefining who and what and where I am. This is the form of intimacy that I'm talking about. This is the form of pleasure as well that I'm talking about. You know, it feels good to find that kind of strength to have everything around you adjust according to you and no longer pulling or prowling for it to happen. We're no longer fighting. We're no longer forcing. We're no longer begging or pleading. We are existing. And whether it accepts us, it has no choice but to adjust accordingly. Acceptance, a lot of people look at that term as something that is weak. This is how you see it as something that is powerful. This is how you see what acceptance truly is. They tell you might as well just accept. No. See, in that format, in that understanding, that means that you are caving into something, that you're bowing to something else. Acceptance is something that is beautiful when you have now come to terms with your own understanding and you've fallen in love with it completely. And you're not changing your understanding for anything or anyone. You are being just that because the pleasure you found in it feels great. I've been smiling lately and I can't stop smiling. I know I was at work this week and I know people was looking at me at work like, what is wrong with her? My manager told me, she said, you just so happy. I said, yes, yes, I am. I am happy. I am happy. Everybody deserves that. Josephine, thank you for coming through, Queen. Happy Sunday to you as well. Everybody deserves to be happy, and we live in existence where, if you're happy and they don't necessarily understand or know why, they find any kind of thing to take it from you as if you're not deserving of it. But everyone here is here for a purpose. Everyone here is not here by coincidence. You are very deserving to smile. You are very deserving to be happy. You are very deserving of everything that you hope for, regardless to how anybody may feel about it. And it don't make it seem as if this is coming from a place of anybody felt low of themselves. No, that's not it at all. Because if you felt low of yourself, you probably wouldn't have fought so hard to keep going, right? It's not the feeling of feeling, it's not the thought of feeling low of yourself that makes you that I'm speaking of. It's the pressure that you got to keep, no matter what. You just fighting constantly to get what you deserve, to have your space. You know what I'm saying? And there has to be some understanding that you don't have to do that. You don't have to fight for it. It's the fighting that that whole idea is an illusion. You've been manipulated into that understanding, and that's why you could never necessarily receive what you've longed for in the first place. You can never receive what was rightfully in your face all along, because you've been so busy fighting based upon an understanding that was pressed upon you. It's already yours. Protect your peace. Thank you for coming through, Queen. Peace and blessings to you. And so we're no longer fighting. We're no longer forcing, you know. All the fighting and the forcing and the riffraff and the chaos and all the craziness, you know what I'm saying? We now know that it's because it's something in the existence that is only trying to see if you really, if you really are accepting to what you ask for what you deserve. And every moment that it comes to you, you say, yes, yes, I am. I'm accepting to it. I deserve it. I've earned it. I'm no longer bending to the will of the existence that I shouldn't have it or I have to do so much to get it. It is mine. It's already mine. I was born to have it. So it's mine. Period. Amelia, thank you for coming through, Queen. I don't have to convince anybody. And I'm no longer in no format trying to even psych myself out or convince myself. I already know it's mine. It's mine. I said it's mine. And it is so. And I've had a busy week, so I've been in and out of thought process. I haven't been able to necessarily sit down because I've been trying to get a lot of things going, and I've actually done that, and I feel so great. I feel so accomplished. And so, whether the world likes it or not, Angie gonna be doing some more content too. Yeah, Sherry Queen. Especially us beautiful women, we're no longer in the season of fighting. No, no, it's just not it's not a good feeling on our bones. You know, we're in the season where we're just gonna be present in the now, and everything that belongs, it will adjust accordingly. We're in full acceptance of ourselves. And we're no longer pushing or prowling for anything to come along with it. You know, if it causes friction, let it go. Dark and lovely, thank you for coming through, Queen. Peace and blessings to you. I really thank y'all so much for the support, you know. So it's time to get active. And I'm gonna be the happiest form of myself. And I want you guys to be the happiest form of yourself as well. Cause it's time out for all this false pressure, right? It's time out for all the you know, the childish antics of the world, of this society. You know, keeping us in this fishnet, right? In this low vibration, this low state where we're constantly tugging and pulling at so many things. You know, it's kind of like a mouse cage where, you know, they give little droplets of food and water and things, and you know, everything around us is just barbaric fighting over it. And the truth and the reality of it all, we don't even live in this cage. You know, it's this world is plentiful. You know, it's plentiful. And I don't have to fight for what's mine. It's already mine. um you don't have to fight for what's yours. It's already yours. um Most people that are fighting for things is because they're not fighting for what is theirs. They're fighting for what is yours. And let them fight by themselves. They can fight by themselves, because as long as I'm standing in my divinity, what is mine no one can have. And no one can take it from me, right? So there's no need for me to fight. There's no need for me to, you know, to have any pressure on that whatsoever. I actually feel the freest that I've ever been in my life. And the reason being is because I see it in a different perspective now. I see that, you know, the crabs in the bucket mentality. Um, you know, they try to pull you down from your greatness. Yes, calm the storm, queen. They try to keep you where they are, because they haven't taken the time to see, you know, where they need to be, you know, their purpose. And that's nobody's job to fix. You know, they see the light in you. It's the light in you that they see. And they haven't taken any time to find the light within themselves. Angie got a whole lot of light. So Angie gonna do a whole lot of shining. And this is what Angie wants all of you beautiful people to do. I want you to shine so bright that anything dark that comes in your way, it gets so blinded by it, it runs, it scatters. And don't hold yourself back because of the impressions of the world. Don't hold yourself back because, you know, what we thought was love, or what we considered um friendships or anything of the sort. If they love you shining your light. If they're hindering your light, shine brighter and see if they scatter. Let them go. Because, you know, going through a lot in this existence and not necessarily understanding, it makes you question, you know, it makes you wonder, like, what in the world is going on? I know I'm deserving. I know that I should be in a certain place, in a certain space. I'm not for 1 second questioning that. I'm just not understanding how is it that I don't have that. And then that light bulb hits and it's like, Eureka, I got it. I now know why. Yes, Sherry Queen, a whole lot of light shining. You start to realize that, the ones that you've accepted into your space, some of them aren't necessarily in appreciation of you wanting to shine that light. They want it for themselves. They either want it for themselves or they don't want you to have it at all. And so you're like, well, why can't you let me shine my light? Why don't you want me to shine my light? Me shining my light would help all of us, right? And they're looking like, no, don't shine your light. Don't do that. Without any explanation, but they give you a fight every time. And whatever reason it may be, and we can come up with so many reasons, right? But right now, I'm not in the season of, explaining a lot of those things. I think we'll get into dialogue about a lot of different things as we go on in this journey, right? Because the journey never stops. But right now, in this moment, what we're doing is we're becoming more intimate with ourselves, and we're actually adjusting and within ourselves our own light and turning that light bulb on, and feeling our vibrations, and accepting our own light and loving it, actually loving how bright it is, actually loving the warmth that comes from it as well, that inner peace, finding true rest. You could be weighed down by the world so much to the point where, you can literally be laying in the bed consistently every day and still get up tired. And it's because the existence that you're allowing around yourself is not allowing you to properly rest. And so whatever you got to do to get rid of this existence around you that makes you feel tired, even when you have laid down for so long, if it's a book, throw it away. If it's a cover, a blanket, throw it away. If it's a piece of clothing in the closet, get rid of it. If you have to get rid of everything, let it all go. I think Bobby Hemmett actually spoke on this one time. And he actually identified how, an empty space brings more room. It's more room for the spirit. Because when you have so much clutter, or when you not even have clutter, but when you have something around you that is hindering you, you're not going to get that rest. And you need it. You need it. So until you figure out what it is that is hindering you from having your proper rest, that inner rest, just get rid of everything. Start off slow. Let me see if I throw away this piece of paper, will it help? If I throw away this pen, will it help? Well, that's not helping. Let me see if I just start throwing away, a drawer full of socks. Let me see if that helps. It's still not helping, or is it getting better? If it starts to get better, then you say, well, let me see if I get rid of something else. And people can call it crazy, but this is my truth. And let me tell you, it's been the most powerful thing that I've done lately. Actually, I've actually gotten this idea, from a beautiful sister of mine. And she even told me, when you start to move, when you start to, packing, right? The universe gonna respond to you. It's gonna give you that shift in so many words. I can't give you what she said verbatim, but it's been the most powerful form of wisdom that I've received in a long time. So Angie started throwing things away. And I mean, I've had mountains of clothes and shoes and purses. And I just started throwing stuff away. Not at one time, just here and there. And things just started to get better, but other things started to get clear. And so I just started throwing some more stuff away. And people would say, "Oh my God, you crazy. You worked so hard for it. I worked so hard for it. I can get some more again," because I'm the creator of my existence. I'm very powerful. And when you go through so many things in life, you become fearless to starting over. It's a part of entrepreneurship. It's a form of business, being able to count your loss, but also see the opportunity and so much more gain. But you got to get that weight off you. You got to get that rest. You got to let the spirit come in. Yes, Pearly Queen. Try it, Queen. I'm telling you, become fearless. Because the existence that we've created around ourselves is a weight. It's formed so much weight in this material realm. And it becomes harder, you know? And so we're fighting with the existence around us. And we want to be free. We want to get to our true destination, right? So you got to get fearless with no hesitation. Start throwing it away. All right, you don't want to bend to my will? Away you go. All right. So many memories. Well, we already have an archive in the archive in our genetics, okay? So I already remember those things. It's time for new things. New things bring new happiness, new spirit, new power. We live many lives in one life. You don't have to stop with this existence. You can recreate a new existence, a more powerful one, a more free one that can give you proper rest, one that you can actually sit in the now in acknowledgement and acceptance of pure happiness of self, not letting the past dictate who you are in the present. If you're looking for what I've been through or, what I've done in my past, you're looking at the wrong person. It's who I am now that you need to be looking at. Because everything that happened in the past, it was happening for me, whether I knew it or not, whether you know it or not. Yes, reinventing, rebranding yourself. It's a powerful thing. You get what I'm saying? These corporations and these businesses out here, you know, the statement, scared money don't make no money, right? Well, a lot of these businesses, they take losses all the time because they're not looking backwards. They're not looking at what they have gained or what they can lose, but they're looking at what they can gain, where they can go, and take that example into your own life and realize that whatever is keeping your mind in a strain or off focus of your greatest potential, it is nothing to let it go. Because you can work so hard to hold on to something. You can literally just hold on for dear life. And it will take you out. And then what did you hold on to it for? If you weren't able to, get to your fullest potential, then you'll leave in regret. I want to talk about this statement. with my babies. And I know they 14, but they my babies. Um, I was 20 years old when I gave life to my babies. And the whole pregnancy, it was a great pregnancy, as a matter of fact. I was spoiled rotten, don't get it twisted. I was in school, and it was, I didn't have to work. It was hard going to school. I was carrying twins, right? And but it had its ups and downs, but overall I was grateful for my pregnancy. I didn't have to necessarily struggle, but I did have a lot of worry because I didn't know what I was going to do. You know, I was so scared. I was so afraid. And I had so many questions, so many doubts, you know, and after delivering them and holding them in my hands, my babies, they smiled at me. They looked at me and they smiled. And I thought to myself, I was like, they don't care whether I have money or not. They don't care if I'm the prettiest person on the world on the planet. They don't care, if my hair is long or short. When they looked at me and smiled, they didn't ask any of these questions. They didn't ask me, um, what type of social status were they coming into, what type of financial status they were coming into. They smiled, and it made me realize that they were happy because it was just me. Sherry says, because we can't change the past, so we accept the things we cannot change and move on with knowledge and power. Ashe, Queen. And see, it was from that moment, from that understanding, that is how I wanted to exist in everything that I've ever done. Not looking at anybody or anything in this existence according to how this existence wants us to look at it, but just looking at it for what it is and smiling. There's so much peace in that. There's so many people who box themselves into the false illusion of, well, you have to be a certain size, or your hair has to be a certain form of coarseness, or you got to drive a certain kind of car in order to be happy, not necessarily realizing that they're rushing to have all of these things. They're fighting to have all of these things, and they have not had a moment of acceptance, living in the now. And they're not and they're not having the full appreciation of getting to that point. And then when they get to the point, because of all of the pressure and the demand of having it, they're realizing that they're not quite so happy in it in the first place, because it's not necessarily the point of getting there. It's the point of living in the now, in the gratitude and the appreciation while getting there. We've all missed the point. Everybody's fighting to get to that finish line without actually experiencing the journey to it. Yes, Sherry, I love it. Rise, King. Peace and blessings to you. Thank you for coming through, Kev. I'm so happy to see you here. Um, and actually, I want to even say, because, and Kev, you've been doing a lot of great dialogues. I really appreciate it. I got the idea of even mentioning, the smile of my babies, because of one of the videos that you mentioned, where you were speaking about, um, fathers being in their children's lives. And you've been doing a lot of video clips, and I really appreciate those videos. It is amazing. I even saw your discussion panel today with Brother D Ham. Very amazing. Um Sherry, yes, I'm a smiler and a hugger. I love smiles and hugs. Look, my grandfather, before he passed away, him and his wife, they stayed in Florida with my uncles, and we used to go and visit all the time. And they're Puerto Rican. My granddad, he's Puerto Rican, and so down there it was like a different form because they do a lot of hugging, right? And I used to love it so much. I'm normally a hugger. I love hugging. Look, I love hugging. I love telling people I love them. I love smiling. I just love it, right? So when I would go visit my granddaddy in Florida and with my uncles and my grandma and stuff, and the fact that they would just give so many hugs all the time, I naturally always felt at home with that. So most definitely, Papio, yes, Queen. Thank you for coming through. Um, I'm honored, love. Yes, back to teaching. I'm so glad you're a powerful, powerful teacher. I really appreciate it. Um, it's been great. And I've even went into dialogue. I was talking with my son Javon. It was one of the videos you discussed about the lady at the gas station with the son, and I was in discussion with that, right? And me and my sis, we was on the phone, and my son, he wanted to come and talk. So while we were having dialogue about that video that you did, Kev, my son, I asked him, what would he do? And then I felt so accomplished, because I feel, even through all of the struggles that we may have endured, sometimes we miss some of the grandest things that we do for our loved ones, right? And what I've realized is that I've given my children wisdom because he was able to express, certain matters within that situation. And because I wanted to dialogue about that situation, and what it spoke to me was, um, the character of a mother, and how, you know, the lack of our own understanding can cause an impression on our children. When I seen the little boy and he wanted to stand up for his mother, and that may have been his intent, but it only showed his fear and how he's scared. And a lot of people look at that as, oh, he's being tough. No, he's being scared, you know. And it's a lot that I can break down on that discussion, but you've been doing a lot of powerful discussions lately. I really appreciate it because, I like looking into those things. I like having those kind of discussions. And I'm definitely grateful that I was able to have a discussion with my son to see, where was his mind? What was his understanding? And he gave me great dialogue and understanding forms of relationships, and the relationships, how I am identified to him as his mother, and how others are identified to him in his social settings, right? In his social gathering. So I feel very accomplished by, that moment. Us as a people, and I'm gonna speak about the mothers real quick. Cause my boys, they're 14 years old. So, they're not too far behind from that age of that young boy that was in that video. And I have been teaching them how to pump gas and everything of the sort, and teaching them how to, go in the store and purchase items, how to, be mindful of their money and things of the sort, and all the things that I find necessary, right? But us as women, as mothers, it is important for us to heal, to rediscover ourselves, to learn, um, because those things that we don't necessarily learn, those things that we don't necessarily change, our children are most definitely a reflection of us. And that little boy is not accountable of his behavior. His mother is. He's a reflection of her. He's scared because she's scared. You get what I'm saying? He's hurt because she's hurt. And the behavior that he has is not an unfamiliar behavior. It's not nothing new. It's something that she knows. But it's something that she has not changed within herself. So she identifies that to be something that is okay, and it's not. And even if she doesn't feel as if it is okay, she does not know how to control the situation because she is not in control of herself. Yes, that was a good clip. It showed a lot. Most definitely. Most definitely. I don't know where you be finding them clips, but they dope. We live in a society where that's really popular, where a lot of people are walking around with this behavior and they think that it's okay, and they live in an existence as if, there is no tomorrow. And it's okay to not worry for tomorrow will worry for itself, right? But it is not okay to have every moment as if there is no other moment, as if there's not another moment to come. That's not wisdom. And a lot of people, I call it's a flex. It's a fake flex. It's not even a good flex. It's showing how weak you really are. And for the mother to feel proud in that moment brings shame, because your child is showing that he feels weak, because it was not a moment that he needed to behave in any format, actually, but it was a moment that he took advantage of. Why? Because apparently the man was no threat. Now the question is, if the man actually was a threat, what would have been the son's reaction then? He might be the AKA man in the house. It makes me feel real sad, to see, that it's a lot of us walking around in that understanding, with this kind of mentality where we have to prove ourselves in moments that are not necessarily requiring us to prove anything, Those are the moments that we realize that some people aren't as strong as they are trying to portray themselves. They don't necessarily even know when to be strong. They don't even understand that there's a difference. That's the problem. Well, Miss Pearlie said, I told my boys, you'll never be the man of this house. It's okay for them to be men. I think a lot of us are scared for them to be men. That's why a lot of them never grow up to actually be men. But you most definitely right, Queen. They have to find the castle of their own, right? You gotta have your own castle. But I've been watching though I watched those videos, Kev. Shout out to you, man. You're very powerful. Really appreciate it. Not at my house, dear. I understand completely, not in my home neither. And I think that shouldn't even be a problem. I think that should be an acceptance. Children should be able to be children. Teenagers should be able to be teenagers, and it's all depending on the leading role players in their lives, and how they live their lives it determines how the children will live theirs. So or it definitely will determine how they start theirs off, right? um you know so what Kevin said, my goal is to take those type of moments and teach from them. Many more coming. So what did you think of his behavior, Angie? I think that his behavior, to me, is a cry. And I think that he was saying so many things to me, as a matter of fact. I think he was saying that he was sick of his mama's behavior and the attention that she tries to attract to herself. And I think that he was saying to me that he is scared. And not only is he scared, but he doesn't necessarily know how to explain that. And he does not know how to defend himself. He does not know when to defend himself as well. He lives in an environment where he is constantly having to be on his toes. And that, to me, is what he was doing. A lot of children, I can go back to my teenage years. I was angry inside. I really was. Even if people didn't see it, I know I was. I didn't necessarily know how to converse that, or to express it. I didn't know how to explain that, and it comes from not necessarily being effective communication is necessary. And in a lot of Black households, they're either proud of you for vain accomplishments, or they're extremely angry and aggressive towards you because of mistakes, or doing anything bad, or rebelliousness, right? Sometimes the in between isn't necessarily there. So it's kind of hard to identify different forms of communication when you've only learned maybe one or two, right? And those one or two seem to be extremely unhealthy. So in this moment of communication, it's not necessarily a good one. He wasn't effectively communicating his frustration or his fear. And he was identifying to me that he doesn't even know when to be scared, or if that was a moment to be scared. Does that make sense? And it's because and we have a lot of people who they applaud that behavior, right? Because that's the behavior that they have within themselves. See, the mama probably thinks, well, that's my baby, he did his big one, he stood up for his mama. You know what I'm saying? She took pride in his fear because she's in fear as well. And I've never quite understood a lot of, things like that. I've always had a problem with that kind of mentality, even though I've been in the presence of it, right? And blended as much as I could, or whatever the case may be. I'm from these similar environments. But I've always had a problem in that, because I'm just trying to understand, if there is a point to prove, what point are we proving? Lisa, hi Queen. Thank you for coming through. It shows that throughout his childhood, He was living in an environment where he did not understand and could not explain what is happening around him. And so the assumption is to become what he sees everyone else around him to be. And so when they respond ignorantly in ignorant moments, they get applauded or treated as if they are deserving of some reward. So he's not identifying himself. He's identifying the characteristics of unhealthy people around him. He's identifying that when things like this happen, I respond like this so that I can receive appreciation. To me, he's showing neglect, that he does not get appreciation, that he does not, get acknowledgement from his mother or from the adults in his life. That's what he's showing me. And he's showing me abuse. Because I have to be a certain way in order for me to be appreciated, even if I'm scared or don't know what I'm doing at all. Because he has no idea what he's doing. And neither does the mother. It's kind of like, and they have movies like this too, where the people or the person that's being kidnapped, they start to act or behave in a certain way for their kidnapper to, be more easygoing or polite or anything like that. You get what I'm saying? And this is the traumatizing effect of a lot of us that grow up in this unhealthy form of existence. Where we're not necessarily seeing our loved ones as mothers or fathers or, grandparents or anything of the sort. We're seeing them as our kidnappers because that's the mentality that they've been taught to, they've been taught to, exist in and raise us in. They have no idea because they have that same mentality and they've become conformed to treating and raising us in an environment where we feel so out of place and, unnatural to us and not necessarily a part of. So we have a mind of a kidnapped child. Terry. I hope I ain't run Kev off. I be so happy when he come through. I really do. I really appreciate his presence, y'all. I appreciate all of y'all presence, to be honest with you. I really am grateful. But we have to teach our families a whole lot more. We have to teach our children a whole lot more than what we have been doing, letting them know that, because I know we do it. I know y'all do it. This not your house. This my house. That's so unhealthy. That's not okay. This is their house. They have every right to exist in every room just as much as you. I work for this. Well, now what you're doing is you're holding their existence against them. And they have no choice but to accept that their existence is against them because they can't work. And as far as we know in this realm, they didn't ask to be here. So now their life is a burden. And so they're going to treat it as if it's a burden. And that's not okay. Our children are not burdens to us. They are not in debt to us and they do not owe us anything. But this society will place this impression on us, so much pressure on our backs, to where we go home to the very ones who cannot defend themselves against us. And we abuse them with all of the hurt and the pain. And so when they get older to become anything in life, we take no accountability for all of the abuse and the neglect that we given them, to make them feel as if they're so out of place and they're kidnapped. And that they're a burden. And they're not. You're not a burden. I'm not a burden. We're not burdens. Our children are not burdens. Do not conform. I always say that. Do not conform. Because what we have not realized is they will fight. This existence will fight you to not be in acceptance of yourself, to not be free, so that you can place that pressure on your children, and your children place that on their children, and then they place that on their children, and so on and so forth. So no matter how long your legacy exists, it will only exist under the pressure. And so it'll always be going negative and never positive. And this is how you break every chain. If you don't know how, ask, learn, heal, change, become better. Do not allow your children to get out of a car at a gas station to stand up against a fully grown man when the man isn't even seeking to be problematic. You are asking for attention so that your children can be, hurt, destroyed. Protect your children. They owe you nothing. And it's not cute to be out here looking like, just careless babies. I want to have the prettiest baby hairs, the prettiest colors in my hair, and the contacts and everything like that, looking like a little mini baby doll. And my children are going to run around looking like little dressed up costume baby dolls as well forever. And we're all going to have a childlike mindset forever. And that's exactly what this society wants you to be, ignorant children. And that's exactly how you're going to carry yourself, like ignorant children. Well, I done been on here for a minute, but I hope that my discussion today, whatever pieces that you guys did find, I hope that it was worth every part of it. I talked about many things, but most of all, I just want everybody to be in acceptance of the now, find appreciation in the now. Think of the happiest thing that you can think of. Stay in that vibration of how that makes you feel in everything that you do. And stay focused. And don't let anything take you from that. And keep going. Peace and blessings to all of you.